I don't know how to be in a relationship.
Then you need to leave her alone.
Kimberly, you seem to think that your doesn't stink.
Hey, I'm not no
I hope
bitch.
so.
I'm not no little punk. I'm gonna own my.
You guys, where did you find this guy?
India.
Hell no, they wouldn't even give you a visa.
And here we are now, and I'm doing exactly what he said I wouldn't have to do. So, if anything, he guilted her into breaking up.
I am not the one who cannot give the child.
Friend and he cares for you, but he's not in love with you. You are in love with him.
But we have sex.
I think Usman low-key played the out of my mom.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are on part 3 of the Happily Ever After tell-all. Let's get into it. Okay, so we're starting off with, in my opinion, one of the biggest disappointments of this season. Okay, if you remember, right at the end of the last episode, Angela is going to find Ed after his and Liz fight, and she's behind him, and he's like, oh my god, Angela's right behind me.
Excuse me.
And I don't know, I was just expecting Angela to go crazy like she has on every other occasion that she can. But no, she goes to him all reasonable, says she's disappointed in him. She's disappointed, like a parent.
I'm very disappointed in you, Ed.
And is there a teensy part of me that is actually like slightly proud of Angela for handling a situation the correct way instead of screaming and cussing everyone out? Yes, but in this instance, I wanted her to use her powers for good, but no, she did not, and I'm very disappointed.
I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?
So they're all sitting there, Jovi, Andre, and Angela, telling him what he did to Liz today was wrong. I don't know, and seeing Angela handle this situation so calmly just reminds me that she can. She has the ability to not scream and yell anytime she gets upset. And like, she's been drinking too. And you would think like when you're drinking, she would go crazy, but she's being so reasonable here.
Would you like your dad to do your mom like that? She's a woman.
And then little Ed points out how Andre, when him and Libby's family was going at it on stage, she had his back. And he's saying Liz didn't do that when everyone else was against him. But Andre wasn't lying to Libby. He was just having actual problems and just not getting along with them. What Liz was mad about was him lying to her. And then he starts with a sob story of he doesn't know how to be in a relationship, which I just don't buy. What he doesn't know how to do is deal with his own insecurities. And I was kind of thinking about this. I wonder if he wants that constant reassurance that no matter what he does, she will come back. And if that's part of his insecurities, I mean, I'm sure someone who watches this who is an actual psychologist or something will maybe know exactly what he's doing. I have no idea, but I was just thinking about that, if he's just doing this almost like maybe not on purpose, like not like planning it out, but like he's doing it not fully aware of what he's doing.
What am I doing?
So Shaida and Yara are sitting off to the side talking to each other about how Angela went crazy on Yara and how the day's gonna go for them, and how they're going to support each other on stage. Well, one thing, Shaida mentioned to Yara about how Ed called her a gold digger and that hurt her feelings. And I'm just curious because Ed's been trying to buddy up to Bilal here most of the night. And I'm like, if Shaida knows, Bilal must know. And I'm a little disappointed in him for not confronting Ed about that. Whether y'all agree that she's a gold digger or not, the fact is that's his wife. He's chosen to stay with her. I feel like he should defend her on something like that.
You call yourself Big Ed, but you're short as
Okay, so it's the next day and they're at the studio and they're hanging out in the green room, waiting to go on stage. And Ed comes in and it just gets real awkward.
Good morning, everybody. How you doing?
Morning.
Hey.
Oh.
Awkward.
So Ed decides to apologize to everyone for his behavior, and he says how he apologized to Liz the night before, and Kim points out that that wasn't really a real apology, and he starts getting pissed.
Kimberly, you seem to think that your doesn't stink.
Hey, I'm not no
I hope so.
bitch. I'm not no little punk. I'm gonna own my.
Okay.
So he's just telling Kim that she needs to own what she did. And I find that funny because it's the same thing he was telling Liz. So he just seems to get stuck on something and then just use that for everyone else. So Jenny is just like, what's wrong with you, Ed? And everyone starts getting worked up pretty quickly about Ed. And so Shaida takes control of the situation. She says, everyone need to calm down. Ed, I'm sure you're feeling like everyone's coming at you right now.
Let's try not to. I understand. You feel like everybody does give it to, but
And then Kim tries to apologize to him.
I apologize for if you feel like I'm being mean to you, because there is
You
two
are.
sides.
Okay, and I'm being very rude and disrespectful.
Kim is trying to come at him and say, I'm sorry. There's two sides to every story, but he's shutting her down. He's not even giving her a chance. He's doing exactly what he does to Liz to Kim now. But I want y'all to remember this clip for later on, okay? Just keep it in your noggin for a little bit. So Liz is getting ready by herself away from everyone, and she tells the producers that she went back and found the screenshots of him being active on the dating site so that she can prove to everyone that she isn't lying.
I went back and found the screenshots of him being active this year while we're talking.
So everyone makes it out on stage, and Sean asks for an update on what happened between Ed and Liz the night before.
I got a half-assed felt apology.
Oh, I don't think so.
No one cares what you think.
And then Angela tells Ed how Liz actually was really upset.
The sorry has to come that you really mean you're sorry, so you don't want to do it again.
And then Ed tries to play the victim again, and Liz is just not having it.
Yesterday was the worst day of my life.
No, it wasn't. You've had plenty of worse days.
Okay, putting that awkwardness aside, Sean goes ahead and starts with Kim and Usman.
Hi.
So Sean has Kim confirm again that her and Usman are officially broken up, and she asks Usman what he thinks was the main cause of the demise of their relationship.
Number one is to get child, and I cannot get child from her.
We're too old to start having children.
I love you so much, but I need to go and make myself happy first.
I love you, but I love me more.
Kim says that they are still best friends. She still loves him and still talks to him every single day, and that they have a connection. And I can tell she still feels that way because she's clearly still protecting him. Sean says it sounds like Usman is the one who broke this off and not Kim. But Kim is insisting that she did. And he's like, well, she took off the ring. But if you guys remember that fight, yes, she took off the ring, she was angry, she left, she said she couldn't do it anymore, but when she came back in, she said, I don't want to break up with you, I want to be with you, I just need you to hear me and understand me, and blah blah blah, and he's the one who said, no, we can't keep doing this. So even though she kind of initiated it, she didn't mean it, and she said she didn't. So in my opinion, he broke it off, and I don't understand if this is Usman gaslighting her into thinking she broke it off. So it's like, well, it's your fault, you lost me.
I am perfect.
I ended this, okay?
I don't believe you.
I denied him having a child for just to stay with me.
I want him to have the happiness that I have with my son.
And speaking of her son, they decide to bring out Jamal, and he seems pissed.
She doesn't see it, but you psycho guilt tripped her. I hope everyone sees him for what he is.
So Sean asks him if there's anything he wants to say to Usman. And he points how on the last tell-all, he said that he was going to hurt her and he was going to have to be there to pick up the pieces. And that's exactly what happened.
If anything, he guilted her into breaking up.
Jamal questions on if Usman ever wanted this relationship to work. And Kim just doubles down and says she broke up with him. It wasn't the other way around.
He loved her for reasons of what she could do for him.
And then Ed decides to interject.
Can we talk about the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about?
Now, generally, when Ed opens his mouth, nothing but shit falls out. But in this case, I do agree with him. Though I can't help but wonder if he's saying it partly to hurt Kim, because he's still a little salty about her. But basically, he's saying that Usman cared more about his reputation as a rapper and was basically using her for clout.
I think Usman, he used her to stay relevant, you know?
Everyone on stage agrees that they think Usman used Kim to boost his reputation, to to stay on the show so more people saw him and he got more popular.
That's not true.
Y'all can say whatever the you want. I don't feel like he played me.
So Shai is talking to Kim and saying that she thinks she is in denial, that she is clearly in love with Usman, but Usman wasn't in love with her.
But we have sex.
That's not in love.
That's the not in love.
It's not in love.
I've been have sex with somebody you love.
It's not that hard.
Okay, so my opinion on it is I think Usman will believe whatever he tells himself to believe. The fact is, Kim offered a lot to him, especially in advancing his career. They could be on this show again, and he's getting even more screen time. So I don't think he doesn't not like her as a person. I think Jenny was right. She said earlier he loves her as a person, but he isn't in love with her. I agree with that. I think maybe, it didn't start off that way, especially with him being like, oh, you're my potential girlfriend. You have to pass the test and blah, 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 blah. And maybe in that he saw that Kim is a good person and now he does like her, but I don't think he was ever fully in love with her the way she's in love with him. Or maybe he just loved how much she loved him.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big...
So Usman is saying that he can't have sex with someone that he's not in love with. So Sean points out how the second wife, according to him, he would have to be in love with her to marry her and have sex with her so they could have children, which is not what he told Kimberly. He told Kimberly that the second wife is just a baby maker and he wouldn't love her the way he loves Kim, or wouldn't love her at all.
Okay, so you would be in love with her also?
Definitely.
That was one of the main issues in their relationship, which Kim isn't bringing up, of how he would tell her one thing and then say another. Usually on the phone, he would tell her all of this, whatever he could to get her over there. And then when she got there, he would say something totally different. Speaking of the second wife, they decide to show the clip of when Usman went and met with the young lady that his mom wanted him to marry.
Wow, I didn't know this part.
So Kim obviously hasn't seen this footage before, and she is pissed that he didn't tell her that he got her number. And Usman gets all worked up because everyone on stage is quiet after the clip, and it's just kind of like, this is awkward, and that didn't feel cool.
Why is everybody quiet? This is the smile. But if I get her number, I can talk to them if I want to.
So Sean asked him if he ever did contact her, and he completely deflects and doesn't even answer the question. And of course, Kim is starting to get really upset and crying.
I have to prove myself time and time and time again.
As much as I do like Kimberly, this bugs me because she put herself in that situation. She allowed this man to think that he could just get away with treating her and telling her whatever he wanted, because of how much that she loves him, and allowing her especially in the very beginning to be called a potential girlfriend. And she was going there under that, so it wasn't even a oh, we really like each other and we just want to see if this would work. It was like, no, you're a potential and I'm seeing if you're good enough for me.
It felt like so dismissed, and I'm not going to feel that way anymore.
I will say Usman does make probably the only good point he has so far.
I stood by you before my family.
I really just find this whole situation very sad, mostly for Kim, because she was so in love and you could just tell that those feelings were true on her part. And she confirms that they are done again, and she doesn't think there's any chance for them in the future, and they're saying goodbye, and you can kind of see Usman kind of looking down, and I think it does bother him and it does affect him that he hurt her.
Okay. Maybe okay.
I feel like Debbie and Colt should really talk to Kim and Jamal. They seem to have a very good relationship, and maybe they could benefit from a little conversation. Okay, so they decide to take a break and they all go backstage and they're in the green room. And of course, Liz and Ed have to start taking over yet again. Liz says she feels naked without her engagement ring, so she's wearing a different ring in placement of it. And I just find that weird. Like, maybe wear it on a different finger? I don't know. I do find that weird. Even Shaida was like, are you serious?
Oh, you put on something?
I just feel weird.
Oh, are you serious?
Weird, yeah.
But I'm sure there are people who would identify with that. But I guess I can imagine that if you've been like married for 20 years and been wearing that ring for so long and then you get divorced. But they've barely been engaged, like especially if you factor in all the times they've broken up. So I don't know. I find that weird.
All right. That's just a little weird.
You don't have forgiveness. And when somebody says they're sorry, you move. I said I was.
Hypocrisy, my friend.
Remember when I told y'all to keep that clip of Kim trying to apologize to Ed in your head? This is why. Kim was trying to apologize to Ed in case she hurt him by her comments, and he completely dismissed her. But here with Liz, he's saying, I apologize, you have to forgive me, and you have to move on. But he didn't do that with Kim not that long ago.
Let's go, Glass House. Me Glass House, you Glass House. You're the Glass House.
So Big Ed gets mad about Liz leaving the room after their fight. I'm not going to tell you what the fight was. Just think about all their other fights and then insert here. But anyway, Jenny kind of defends her, says she's hurt. She doesn't want to listen to this right now. And Ed is like, you're just defending her and that's not helping anything. So then Jenny says this.
The relationship is weird. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, Jenny, so is yours.
That's pretty shitty of Ed to say, in my opinion, because Jenny and Sumit have been through a lot to be together, and they don't break up every other week. And they have a lot of shit going against them. So Big Ed should really just shut his pie hole.
Where did you find this guy?
India.
Hell no, they wouldn't even give you a visa.
I love it. Jenny's been so quiet through this, and now she's just like, fuck off, Ed. Don't come at me. So Liz comes back in and she brings proof that Ed was on the dating website.
Okay, she come in here. Do you see it's Ed?
At this point, I'm so done listening to the drama. They're just both toddlers and it's exhausting. Anyway, so he's of course still denying that it was him. She has the screenshot saying that he was active 2 hours ago, and he's like, that's not me. So like, I don't know, maybe someone hacked into the profile. I guess there's always a chance, but I don't really think so. Anyway, they go back out on stage and it is Bilal and Shaida's turn.
Let's move on now to our most recent newlyweds, Bilal and Shaida.
They were probably the most boring couple this season, in my opinion. So I'm just going to give a quick recap because this segment isn't any better than the season. Well, actually, it's a tad bit better, but not by much. Okay, so when we left them at the end of the season, she had given him like a 9-month time period on agreeing to start trying to have a baby. Well, he did actually agree, and they started trying. But now she's flip-flopped and said no, she wants to hold off.
I've decided to focus on my business and grounding myself in America.
Before she made this decision, her and Bilal went to an herbalist just so she could do everything she could to hopefully have a baby. And they learned some new techniques.
Have you ever heard of edging?
Edging?
Mm-hmm.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
Now, this is never before seen footage, so I highly suggest you go and watch the whole interaction because I will say this is pretty funny. And I'm like, it sucks that they left this out of the actual show. They should have showed more things like this, and they looked like way happier as a couple, too.
Have you noticed a change or anything with your nature?
You know, it's a force to be reckoned with.
Bilal.
Watching Bilal rewatch this clip and he's just dying aside is hilarious. My opinion on Shaida changing her want to have a child right now is I think she got cold feet. I think it didn't happen the first couple times they tried, and now she's just scared to keep trying and it not happen. So, you know, if you don't try and it doesn't happen, then, you know, you can't be upset. So That's my opinion on it. Okay, so they bring on a friend of Bilal's who we haven't met before, and Shaida's friend who we have met before, the one who said that she should just forget to take her birth control. Yeah. And those two kind of get into it.
Tricking your husband into having a child?
Bitch, that's a terrible idea.
And are you out there tricking men and just having children off the whim?
Yeah, I don't agree either with her giving Shaida that advice. I mean, luckily Shaida's a grown woman, so she knows better, but I don't entirely know if she was like low-key trying to sabotage things or if she really was doing it for Shaida just because she knows how much Shaida wants a baby.
I'm not here about Bilal and all the men in the world. I'm here for Shaida.
And then Bilal decides to make a romantic gesture for Shaida.
Would you have my baby? Would you want to go half on a baby?
Oh, how cute.
Also, I feel like anyone who's been in a long-term relationship totally understands Yara right here.
Why you did that romantic Juvie?
Okay, so now we're moving on to the last couple of the day.
And now it is time to talk to Jenny and Sumit.
Okay, so in my opinion, there's only a couple things really worth talking about and kind of digging into with them this season because it's been a lot of the same. I enjoy watching them. I think they're adorable. I think there really is true love there. But as to drama and kind of juiciness, they were kind of low this season. Even though Sumit and his parents have limited communication at the moment, they did bring up the subject of him not being able to have children with Jenny, and that is a big concern for them.
मेरे बाल बच्चे होंगे मैं आपको बोल देता हूँ.
Awkward.
Told them that I can adopt or I can do surrogacy.
So Jenny is pissed. She is upset that he told his aunt that and that he was talking to his business partner about that, especially because she hasn't heard anything about it. And she's like, you never should have married me if you wanted kids. But Sumit does say he does not want kids. He was basically just saying this to make them happy. Like, if he could adopt a child and make his family happy, he would, basically. Of course, everyone on stage has their opinion on it, on whether he actually wants a child or not. And of course, Ed thinks that he does want a kid and he's just, saying he doesn't for Jenny. I don't think he wants kids. He may in the future. He may want kids once he gets a little bit older. But I think right now he doesn't have a desire to because he's never once voiced it. It's never been a question in all the time we've been watching them. So I think he just said it to try and make his family happy so that maybe they would be in his life again. Sumit's sister-in-law does say that their relationship is getting a little bit better.
We meet up, we talk, and we get along well between four of us.
But the relationship between Jenny, Sumit, and his parents is still the same, which is why it was so shocking for me to hear this.
Jenny and Sumit both have blessings from me.
Thank you.
Even though he gave his blessing, he knows that Sumit's mom will never do it and she'll never accept the relationship. But in his opinion, they're already married and he just has to accept that this is what will make his son happy. Then the other big topic was Jenny wanted Sumit to consider moving to the US where she knows that they will be more accepted. And Sumit isn't sold on it. He says he will go for a visit to see how it is, but he's not sold on leaving his country and culture and his family.
Okay, I can come for some time, but just for a visit.
So that is the end of Jenny and Sumit's part in the tell-all, which I'm sure Jenny is very thrilled about. She just wanted to get it over with. So Sean ends up finding out that Michael and Usman are in the same location right now while they're filming because you can hear heavy rain on both of their speakers. So Sean asked Angela if she would be okay with them hanging out, and I'm assuming you guys know the answer to that.
Angela, if Usman and Michael wanted to hang out tonight, would you have any problem with it?
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, Usman has a big problem with what he feels is like Angela telling him what he's supposed to do.
How can somebody be my brother and then we can't see each other? Usman, it's okay.
But don't worry, Angela has a great explanation as to why.
If I don't want him around you, it makes sense because I'm him, you're not.
Anyway, they fight back and forth for a couple minutes and then they all decide to take a break, and Angela goes backstage and calls Michael and says, you better not be hanging out with him, and you better not be lying, and she's yelling and everything.
I'm gonna tell you this, I'm not happy about you in the goddamn hotel with Usman.
You know, like, she's been so good and now she's right back to how she was. And so then after that phone call, Michael, even though Angela has just been yelling at him about not seeing Usman, decides to walk to Usman's room.
Usman, I'm here.
Yeah, Michael probably just shot himself in the foot again. But anyway, that's all I have for this one. Next week will be the final part of the Happily Ever After tell-all. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure to look out for that video next week, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.
In case I don't see ya. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.